Hey, welcome back, family, friends, overcomers. This is the Healing Homestead. This is Kenny, and I'm back here in the house today. Um, I'm actually standing in our living room on a completely decked floor. So, I think some of the last videos that you guys may have been along with us if you've been watching this whole time. I was in this back bedroom hallway where this plywood's actually blocking, but it goes back into the kids' bedrooms. That was a transition point where we were trying out this new phone that has some different storage for our video content because our phones were getting overloaded. And we have some other camera setups, but for right now, this is just what we have to work with. And recently, it got so full of storage, we had to do something about transferring it, and we didn't really know the system, so some of those videos got lost. But no big deal. We got some pictures we might splice in on this video just to kind of show you guys some of what we did here working in the house. But there's been a lot going on lately. Spring is here. Yay, we're excited about that here. There's lots of big things happening for us here. I had been needing to get the tractor maintenance, which meant like oil change, transmission oil, and hydraulic oil change. It's really the same thing in the Kubota that we got, but did that, greased up everything. It's running well. I actually mowed one of these fields out here that was overgrown with weeds just the day before yesterday, and it's looking really nice. We're going to try to cut those weeds down, start our rotational grazing paddocks this season, and just see how it works with them keeping it down. And then what we need to do, we need to do like a controlled burn or drop some seed for some different types of clover or something to prop up. We're going to see. But this is our first year on the property, so we really don't know with the rotational grazing and everything. We learned a little bit more about that at the Virginia Homesteaders of America when we went this last, I don't know, it's been a few months ago, but learned a little bit more about that now, so we feel more equipped this season as we're coming on. But we got gardens getting ready to go in. Just a couple days ago, we got our chicks, so we ordered 60 chicks from Murray McMurray. It's a big, well-known hatchery. And so right now what will be our closet and our pantry looks like a Tractor Supply store during chick season. So we've got 60 chicks. I'll have to have DaLana catch me up on what breed we got. They sent us one specialty chick, or one extra chick, just since we ordered 60. So if you hear those chirping in the background, then that's what that is. Another thing that we've been really working towards is getting sheetrock and everything in the house. So I think that's the next stage. We're going to have to clean up a bunch of this stuff. DaLana's finishing like a lot of this wall insulation you see behind me. It's gotten all the way into the master bedroom. And then that master south wall is like some of the last spots. And then into the bathroom she's got mostly done. So the whole house is completely insulated. We've got electrical where we need it. The cold water is running and fine. The deck is down. Um, what else do we need to do? We're gonna spray a little bit of spray-in insulation up top, and then we'll cap that with the sheetrock once we get that. But other than that, I mean, it's moving along well. Now that we got the flooring down, we're able to eventually start working on our wood burning stove right there. And I think I've said it in previous videos, and I don't know if you're going to get that content because of the accidental delete. But we're replicating a model of fireplace hearth, or like the base that the fireplace is going to sit on, off of Jason from Sow the Land. He's got great content. He's one of Justin Rhodes' friends. If you're not up to date with them, check them out. They've got awesome channels, and their content is super, super interesting. I watch them all the time, and I've actually come across them by researching stuff for our own. Like I came across the Hollers, the Healing Homestead, when we were looking at renovating this mobile home, a modular unit, because they actually did some of the same things, and we're living in a camper. So I mean, we're just following along that trail that they've blazed, and I'm sure there's been other people that have done it and maybe just didn't create YouTube content out of it. But so the hearth for that is going to be coming soon in a video. And pretty much we're just taking 12-inch concrete paver stones, putting them down on some cement board, and then just wrapping some trim around it, and it's going to be as simple as that. And then we're going to have one of our friends come in and make sure that the ducting and everything is safe for this unit. Now that we got a floor, we got one of our refrigerators actually in the house. We moved around some of the chest freezers, so this stuff in here is going to eventually get moved around and out of here, and we got a lot of stuff just kind of cluttered up from us working in here. So once we get sheetrock going, we'll probably have that for you guys to follow along with too. So for today, what I'm planning on doing today, I'm gonna roast a little bit of coffee, and me and DaLana have found this blend that we really enjoy, so we're just going to share it with you guys. It's nothing special, but I'm going to try to do the roasting of coffee and bring you guys along with me, so enjoy. Okay, so the blend of coffee I'm going to be roasting today is just a combination of two different coffees from two different regions. I got a bag of Colombian coffee, and then I've got this 5-gallon bucket here, and this has got my Ethiopian beans in it, which we really, really like. And it's just got a gamma seal lid and a food grade 5-gallon bucket. So what I tried out the other day was one of my friends that also roasts coffee. He had this same combination and said he had blended it together and that it was really good. So I wanted to try it out, and so far me and DaLana have like really liked it. So it's a 50-50 with the Colombian and Ethiopian. And when you're dealing with green beans, there are some that depending on the region that they were grown in, they may take a little bit more heat or a little bit more time to get some of the flavorings and to get to like the first crack, which is just into light roast and starting to go, I think it's called a city roast. But that's where I like to have ours, where it's not necessarily a light, but I want it in between light and medium. I don't want a burnt tasting cup of coffee. And these two beans seem to just blend well, pretty well together for us. So this is a fresh roast, SR 800, and they have a model that I think is like the 540 model, and it just holds half the amount. So this one holds 8 ounces of green beans. So I know that with this little measuring cup they sent with it, that it's 4 of these and 4 of the Ethiopian. So I'm going to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the process of roasting is honestly, for me, it's enjoyable, but I'll put it on a little time-lapse video for you guys because it's kind of boring. It's just really me watching the bean and seeing what it's doing and increasing this has a where you can control the amount of air, the amount of heat, as well as the time going in there. So I'm just kind of messing with that as it goes. And what I do with this roaster and these beans is I incrementally, like I started out low and then slowly increase it until it's getting to the point where I know it's going to go into what's called the first crack. And it really just starts popping or cracking, kind of like popcorn, maybe not as intensely. Sometimes it does, but you'll just hear a little snap and a crackle, and you'll know that that bean is opening up, and it'll actually start to release gases as it sits after you've roasted it. So that's where that aroma comes from. Because immediately afterwards, after you roast, it doesn't necessarily have that really fragrant smell to it that fresh roasted coffee will have. But if you let it sit for like 2 or 3 days, it usually will smell and taste about as fresh and the best as it can, in my opinion. I know that there's a lot more science and technicalities, I guess you could say, in roasting coffee than I have the time to investigate and do. And really, I just do this for us. This is cheaper buying bulk green beans and roasting it than constantly having to go to the store and get it. So it's part of our way of being somewhat more self-sufficient. I mean, we're not like growing our own green beans and doing that, which is kind of cool. We visited coffee plantations in Guatemala when we went on mission trips, but I think we're going to stick more to growing our own food and our own meat, and then I will source green beans from wherever I can, usually coffee shops, local coffee shops that roast and have their own beans. You can usually get them from there, and if not, I have in the city a distribution company that I worked with to get those Ethiopian beans. One thing I will warn you, if you get this coffee roaster, this is fragile. This is fragile. So far, I have had to buy a replacement lid from being clumsy and dropping it numerous times, and this portion here cracked. Okay, just the other day I was getting this carafe out and pulled it out of my little tote that I have it in and completely snapped the handle off at the glass. So luckily I keep Gorilla Super Glue on me at all times because it helps out with so many different things. And so I had some, I glued it back on, and it's been working well. But let me get this time lapse going and get this roasted, and then I want to start on the bee hive setup because hopefully here in the next day or two I'll have that done. But we're going to meet up. I've mentioned that our friend Bill that did the metal roofing and the siding on our house now, he's been a great help with us in this whole journey, encouraging us along the way. And he remembers what it looked like before. And if you guys are new followers with us, go back to some of the newer or the older videos when we first moved out here and take a look at this place, because it looks kind of crazy right now when it's under construction, but it was even crazier when we first came in. It was just swarming with wasps. There were birds and bird nests, and it was just kind of crazy. So now it's getting to the point to where it's looking more like a home. And once we get all the construction material and debris and clutter out of here, all we got to do is really like throw up some sheetrock and do some finishings, and we're gonna be staying in here. So it's exciting, but it's came a long way. And Bill is actually giving me a hive or a colony of bees. He has 4 colonies right now, or 4 hives, and he was just like, you get the boxes, we can swap frames or we can do whatever, and we'll make sure that you have some bees. And so he's just giving those to me. And then I got another friend of mine that I go to church with, his name's Jim. he's building some swarm traps, and I'm going to try to do that too, because if you can catch them for free, that's less investment if for some reason they swarm and go somewhere else, or if you lose them, because the equipment can be somewhat expensive, and the bees can be a little bit expensive too. So research that. I before I decided I wanted to get into bees, I just, because I was a little interested in it, went to the Virginia Homesteaders of America, and that's where we kind of decided, okay, we need to start our YouTube channel, and really get this thing going, because we were already doing this, we just weren't creating content, because things have just been busy. You guys can probably catch up with some of the stuff in the bag, but or in some of the earlier videos. But I went to an off-site workshop with Kaylee Richardson from the Homestead. She's a really popular YouTuber and beekeeper and homesteader, and her little workshop that she did with us really was encouraging and easy to digest, that you can do this, and a lot of people are going to do things differently than the next person, but that this is attainable, this is doable. It's not like you have to go out and get a master's degree and be some master commercial beekeeper to have bees in your backyard. You can do this. So I'm going to try to jump into that next. Let me get these roasting. Okay, so I don't know how long that actually took you guys. It took me about 10 or 11 minutes to get the coffee roasted. This is about how I wanted it. I didn't pay as good of attention to it as I normally do. I'm usually sitting down just doing this, but I was trying to get my glue and my staples and my staple gun and everything set up with the beehive so that I can roll right into this. But as you're roasting green coffee beans, if this is something you want to do, obviously they start out green. They're a little bit heavier. As they roast, they start to change colors. It turns like a yellowish kind of color, and then it gets a little bit lighter, and then as you either add heat or whatever, it will continue to roast and turn that brown color like this is. Now this, it doesn't really have a real strong fragrance right now, but like I said, these are roasted. I will let them sit for probably a couple days, 2 or 3 days, in a sealed mason jar. We've been using like a half gallon jar with just a screw-on lid, nothing like super airtight. But then after 2 or 3 days, you'll crack that open and it will hit you in the face, and it's something good if you enjoy the smell of fresh roasted coffee. So that's kind of what it looks like to show you there. I mean, that's how we like it. It's not super light. It's not dark. It's right there in between, so I guess you could call that a medium roast, but this is what we will enjoy. Okay, so we're walking in here into the master bedroom, or what will be the master bedroom, and so we've got a bunch of sweet potatoes here. Went to like the Whole Food grocers and just bought whatever sweet potatoes they had. They're sitting here in the window. And I'm going to show you these. These are just potatoes that my wife has had sitting in these little spuds right here that are growing out. Those will be potato plants. So we've got a little bit of life. I don't know if you guys can see it, but right on the other side of that line, there's like a little white vein kind of sticking out, and that is actually going to be root for the potatoes. So that little thing is just showing that it's got life to it. And these have only been in the window for maybe 4 days. I don't know, maybe a week. But they're doing good so far. So that's going to be a source of us growing our own food. Here's another source. Obviously, these cute little chicks. And we're going to have Mila out here and introduce you to Henry, because they sent us one special bird. We ordered 60, so there's around 15 in each of these. The lighting on this one's probably a little bit better, but they're all doing good. I'm sure it's hard being a little chick, and but yeah, Mila's got one in there that she named, so I'm hoping that that bird does well. So I'll have her introduce him in another video, or we'll try to splice it in here. But we're trying. Well, I mean, we're doing the best we can right now with living in the camper and fixing this house up. But it's all been a journey. It's all been pretty fun, and just learning how to do some of this stuff as we go has been really, it's fulfilling.